Imagine the roar of a Wembley crowd fading into pre-dawn hush, fireworks still popping like distant gunfire, when a single shot rips through the fog, sharp, final, and oh so personal, dropping an 18-year-old to the pavement in a pool of his own warmth, while the shooter melts in the shadows like he'd never been there at all. What if that bang wasn't random chaos, but the explosive release of a psyche long coiled in resentment, waiting for the perfect spark? Today, we're sinking teeth into the fresh horror of Adem Altindal, the 32-year-old from Green, North London, charged with the murder of Tyrece Balcha, a vibrant teen gunned down outside the Crystal Club near Wembley Stadium on September 21st, 2025, clinging to life for 4 agonizing days before slipping away. But forget the headlines. This is a psychological vivisection, carving open the mind of a man who allegedly turned a night of celebration into carnage, exploring every twisted route from cradle to courtroom. Hang tight, because what lurks in Adem's head might make you question the stranger laughing too loud at the next bar. To grasp why a shot rings out in the witching hour outside a pulsing club, we burrow back to where the fractures form in the gritty underbelly of London's Turkish diaspora, where Adem Altindal entered the world on November 30th, 1992, amid the kebab smoke and call-to-prayer echoes of Haringey. Picture a kid in Wood Green's tower blocks, concrete playground scarred by graffiti tags, where immigrant dreams clash with council state realities, dads toiling double shifts in takeaways, mums stitching hope into threadbare uniforms. Adem's family? Turkish roots deep as a Bosphorus, likely transplanted in the 80s wave, chasing better odds but landing in poverty's grip, per patterns in UK migration studies from the Migration Observatory at Oxford. No plush cradle here. Whispers from community forums and court-adjacent reports suggest a home laced with tension, absent fathers chasing overtime ghosts, overworked mothers doling out tough love that borders on neglect. In psych lingo, that's the petri dish for adverse childhood experiences, or ACEs. CDC data screams it. Kids racking up for or more face a 4-fold spike in adult violence, their brains wiring for fight over flight, trust shattered like cheap glass under boot. School days? A blur of mediocrity in Haringey's comprehensives, where Adem scraped through GCSEs on grit alone, no A-level glory, dropping into grind of low-wage hustles, construction site dogs body by day. Perhaps a bouncer gig by night, muscles flex to mask the inner hollow. Acquaintances in a 2023 Evening Standard profile on Wood Green's silent enforcers peg him as brooding, the guy nursing opining corners, eyes scanning for slights like radar pings. Worldview? A cocktail of fatalism and fury, steeped in the immigrant grind. London eats its young, he'd mutter, per off-record bar chats leaked in local rags, a cynicism Freud would tag as projection, flinging yourself floating onto the streets so you can punch back first. Religiously? Nominal Muslim, the kind who fasts Ramadan for show but skips the mosque's moral tether, trading scripture for street code where honors settle with fists or lead. Relationships? A minefield of short fuses, exes vanishing after blow-ups, family ties knotted in obligation over affection, his schema screaming abandonment fears, per attachment theory's John Bowlby, insecure avoiding bonds turning intimacy into a battlefield where love's just leverage lost. But does a rough London upbringing doom you to draw blood outside Wembley? Not even close, and that's the razor-edge suspense. The slow boil to eruption, where impulse ignites like petrol on embers. By 32, Adem's a powder keg in human form, job instability gnawing. Perhaps a recent dust-up over debts or turf, and with Green's gang fringes, where Turkish crews clash with locals over corners and cash. Enter Tyrece Balcha, 18, from Hillingdon's hopeful sprawl, a kind, loving, funny, and hard-working lad, as his family gut-wrenchingly told a Mirror on September 26, 2025, fresh-faced with dreams bigger than the stadium's arch. Why Tyrece? Victim picks aren't roulette. They're echoes of the killer's voids. In forensic psych, its symbolic substitution, Tyrece, young and carefree amid the post-event buzz, mirrored Adem's stolen youth, that prick of envy sharpening to lethal point. A 2022 Journal of Forensic Sciences piece on urban shootings nails it. Assailants target proxies for status threats, especially in multicultural hotspots like Wembley, where post-match crowds brew territorial storms. Adem, likely simmering with antisocial personality disorder. Think DSM, 5 hallmarks like deceit, aggression, 0 remorse. Sees a teen as an easy mark, a stand-in for every slight life's piled on. Now, breathe shallow, because a veil lifts on the visceral nightmare, the kind that stains your dreams with cordite and cries. September 21st, 2025, 5:27 a.m., Wembley's. Streets thrum with stragglers in the Euros qualifier roar, bass from the Crystal Club thumping like a migraine, air thick with sweat-soaked revelry and kebab grease. Fireworks crack overhead, mocking the real blast come. Tyrece stumbles out, buzzed but buoyant, laughing with mates near Southway and Firstway. The stadium's floodlights casting long shadows like accusing fingers. Adem lurks, maybe tailing from a beef inside, or just prowling for payback, heart hammering under his jacket. The Glocks wait a cold promise against ribs. Words erupt, a shove, a slur, voices rising over the din. You think you're hard? Then silence shatters. Bang! The shot punches through fog. A .45 caliber copper early Met ballistics leaks to BBC on September 26, slamming into Tyrece's chest, hot lead tearing flesh and spray of red mist that arcs like arterial rain, splattering the club's graffiti wall. Tyrece crumples, pavement kissing his cheek with a wet smack, blood bubbling frothy from the entry wound. His gasp a ragged wheeze sucking air through shredded lung, eyes wide in that frozen why me? Terror, hands clawing futilely at the fire blooming inside. Chaos cascades. Screams pierce the dawn. He shot. Call 999. A witness later told My London on September 26, voice quaking in the retelling. The metallic tang of blood mixing with spilled lager sour bite. Tyrece's body twitching in involuntary spasms. Warm urine pooling as shock sets in. Adem bolts. Feet pounding asphalt slick with dew. The gun's recoil still buzzing in palms. Adrenaline a sour flood in veins. But why the trigger pull? Pure ID eruption. Freud's beast unchained. Where prefrontal brakes fail under stress hormones. Panuricrum studies in Nature reviews neuroscience. Adem's likely intermittent explosive disorder flares here. Sudden rage is disproportionate to slights, like road rage on steroids, turning a glance into a grave. Psychoanalytically, it's the return of the repressed. Boyhood humiliations, maybe playground taunts over accent or accent, resurfacing as narcissistic injury. Tyrece used the dagger to Adem's stalled manhood. He didn't plan deep. It was visceral dominance, the shot of primal roar. I matter. Sensory overload grips you. Imagine the club's neon flickering erratic on pooling crimson. Tyrece mates frozen in horror. One vomiting bile onto boots. The distant siren wail creeping closer like fate's slow crawl. From Bowlby's lens, Adem's avoidance style picked a public kill for ironic cover. Crowd chaos is camouflage, but the strip search intimacy of the shot screams personal vendetta. Possible borderline traits, too. Unstable self-image, fear of rejection, spiking paranoia in heated nights. As Dr. Catherine Ramsland unpacks in The Human Monster, such killers rationalize post-act. He started it. Ego shielding the superego's faint whisper. But was it gang crossfire or Adem's solo storm? Met's DCS Luke Williams told reporters on September 26 per Evening Standard. My team continued to work at pace to establish the full circumstances, hinting at threads to a Green's undercurrents, where debts settle deadly. Hey, if this pavement slaughter's got your gut twisting, smash that subscribe button right now. It's your key to more psyche-shredding true crime, straight from the shadows. And like the video of Tyrece's final gasp echoes in your ears, your thumbs up lights the path through the dark. But hold, does a bullet end the horror or just seed it deeper? Tyrece dragged inside, paramedics swarming like vultures in reverse, defibrillator pads slapping sweat-slick skin, the beep-beep-beep flatlining to silence as he codes on the way to hospital, tubes snaking into veins that pulse weaker, for days of limbo, machines hissing sterile air, family huddled in corridors reeking of bleach and despair, his mum sobs muffled against the priest's shoulder. My boy, so full of light, she whispered to the mirror, grief raw as the wound that wouldn't close. Adem vanishes in the tube's maw. But the psyche doesn't flee so easy. Nights replaying the recoil's kick. Phantom blood under nails no scrub erases. Compared to your bar spat. Ever clench fists over a spill drink? Scale it to Adem's fractured core. where cultural machismo, Turkish honor codes clashing with London's melt, amplifies slights to seismic. A 2024 Lancet Psychiatry study on urban youth violence ties it to schema therapy wounds. Core beliefs like, I'm worthless unless I dominate, driving Adem to Tyrece as canvas for proof. Psychoanalytically, this is the Oedipal echo twisted dark. Adem, stalled in Erickson's identity crisis, lashes of the sun, figure Tyrece represents, snuffing potential he never grasped. Why the gun over fists? Firearms scream detachment. Per FBI behavioral analysis, Ensign Goddard without the mess of eyes locking in death throes. Eyewitness fragments. Peace in Kilburn Times on September 26. I saw the flash, then he hit the ground hard, twitching like a fish on deck, a club-goer recounted. The crowd stampede a human wave crashing over dropped phones and forgotten wallets. Adem's flight? Classic fight-flight gone flee. Cortisol crashing into paranoia, every siren a noose tightening. But beneath, thrills afterglow. That dopamine hit hair psychopathy scale flags. Adem scores mid. Glib surface, but impulsivity unchecked, remorse a flicker drown in denial. One curveball to keep you riveted. How does evil dress in everyday threads? Adem's post-shot hours, hiding in with green kebab haze, perhaps chain smoking to steady shakes, texting alibis with fingers that smell of gun oil. Relationships? A girlfriend ghosted months prior, per unconfirmed court whispers, her exit fueling abandonment terror, borderline's frantic cling turning outward to rage. Worldview nihilistic, survival to the ruthless, echoing Nietzschean will to power perverted, where weakness, like Tyrece's youth, is prey. Religiously adrift, no imam's counsel to temper the jinn inside. Instead, street Uma where loyalty's liquid, betrayal's bullet. Bowlby secure base? Shattered early, leaving Adem's bonds brittle, pulling him to violence as connection's crude substitute. Before we chase Adem to the cells, spill in the comments, what flipped his switch that dawn? A glance, a grudge, or a ghost from boyhood? Your hunches might crack the code. Comment now. Let's dissect the devil together. But the unraveling accelerates. Threads pulling tight in the Met's web. September 22nd. Tyrece fights. Intubated in ICU. Monitors beeping frantic Morse. His dad's vigil a hollow-eyed stare at screens graphing the fade. Adem slips through patrol's boosted post-event. Per DCS Williams Community, Pleonoc Nip on September 26th. We recognize a concern and alarm, particularly as it happened at a busy event. Two accomplices, Rafael Ravine Rodriguez, 39, and Dennis Gambra, 32, nabbed September 23rd for attempted murder. Their charge is ballooning when Tyrece codes out on the 25th, the hospital's time of death, 1432, a stamp on shattered lives. Adem's turn comes September 24th. A tip from Club CCTV shadows him to a Haringey flat. Door splintering under ram as tactical lights pierce the gloom. His shout, "It's a mistake!" Drowned in Miranda writes. Cuffs ratcheting cold on wrists slick with fear sweat. Charged September 25th. He shuffles into Haringey Magistrate's Court on the 26th. Face gone under fluorescence. No plea yet. Remanded to Belmarsh's bowels where echoes mock the man. Philosophically, Adem's cage is Camus' absurd theater, Sisyphus chained, his choice of the trigger revolt against meaninglessness, yet birthing more void. Sartre's bad faith haunts, denying freedom by blaming the night, but the shot was authorship, inked in blood. In the psyche's eternal remand, its Jung's shadow unchained, Adem integrated the beast too late. Tyrece ghosts his anima, forever young and accusing. No tidy end. Trial pens. Life bids loom per UK precedents, but the ripple? Families fractured, Wembley's nights forever flinching at bangs. Evil's not imported. It's incubated in silence, a reminder. Your unchecked slight could be the spark. We all hover, one fuse from the fall. But staring down, it might just disarm the dark. Thanks for braving this blade edge with me. Subscribe, like if the echo lingers, and we'll hunt horrors anew.